Hello, my dear friends. American government suddenly reminded me of a bully from the American school. That running around and pointing fingers on anybody else, hitting children and pointing the fingers on anybody else just to not be blamed for his crimes, I guess. I want to give example of a Boers because it's very important example. During the invasion and occupation of South African Republic, British people or Boers, Dutch people created concentration camp. After those camps was used in the World War I by capitalistic countries such as Germany, as I remember. After those concentration camps was again used by Germany to exterminate people. Concentration means concentrate, not kill. Also there was camps, death camps used by German war machine, let's say. But German forces, they killed people, and I don't know, in tens of thousands maybe. But in the end, in 21st century, all Western world remember about Gulag, which wasn't death camps, of course. And all this propaganda was created by American government and make American people believe that it's communists who are bad people here. Millions of, hundreds of millions of killed and murdered people by regime. Also, American government create propaganda that you communists are the blame. You are the blame for that. It's not us. It's not us create, I don't know, 37 military invasions in different countries, create numerous coups in different countries all over the world, create endless war in Africa, create bunch of terrorist organizations all throughout the world, create almost genocidal war in Vietnam, create almost genocidal war in Korea, create dictatorship regimes all throughout the Latin America, and etc., etc. Also, nobody really remember about Japanese people who was in camps, detained because American government was afraid that they going to be the sleeping cell for Japanese. Rights and freedoms. In United States in 21st century, you have less rights and freedoms than in some Nigeria or I don't know, something country of the third world. In Nigeria, in I don't know, Zimbabwe, you can go where you want, say what you want, and no one will prosecute you for that. In United States, you can't say this, you can't say that, otherwise you can be prosecuted. You can be shot by policeman on the street because you act wrong way, as he think. You can be sent to the prison because you don't pay your debt. And here we come to the biggest problem of modern United States. United States think about itself as prosperous economy, when in reality it's broke. Right now, in 2011, there was 0% of people who lived at $2 a day in Russia, and 1.2% of such people in United States. Prosperous country, now economy number one in the world. You blame everyone For example, you blame Russia that take Crimea from Ukraine, but in reality, it's United States government who create Maidan, who create military coup, literally, in independent country in Ukraine, and after that install Nazist regime that turned people away, people of Donbass, people of Lugansk Oblast, turned those people away from Ukraine, turn Crimea people from Ukraine. And such examples can be done in a big numbers. Americans really until now believe that oppression is about communism or socialism, that USSR is oppressive regime. In reality, Western world was for socialistic bloc like a rod. USSR have to protect Russian people from, not Russian, Soviet people and people from socialistic countries from rod that USA bring with itself. Many military crimes was made during all invasions and wars by American soldiers, and no one investigated. And therefore Americans act the same way right now. Americans act the same way just as its government. They're running around bullying people, they don't give a fuck, they running around with the guns. Only now they do the same thing in their own country, with the same people as they are. And therefore they simply creating hate. You fight the slavery 200 years ago. You kind of won, right? But look at it now. It used to be that you have to contain slaves, feed slaves, make them work. You have to force those slaves to work. But what we see right now, with the debt slavery, people, you don't need to force people anymore to work. You don't need to feed them. Well, some of them. You don't need to contain them. And yet, people on their own, working hard and paying the debts, paying the interest for bankers, paying taxes for the government, supporting war machine, military machine for United States government so it can run around and bully other people all over the world and call this a fight for freedom, a fight for our country, when in reality it's not. It's invasions, military invasions, coups, etc. American government and American society all throughout 20th century act like bully, and after they create a bunch of point fingering on anybody else. It's them, it's them, it's them, it's not us. Not us. Not us who killed millions of people, maybe hundreds of millions of people, was the cause of death of millions of people, one way or another. Create military coups, create oppressive regime in United States, create segregation, create feminism, which now looks like also some bully apparatus. All throughout its history and 20th century, United States was that country that Orwell described in 1984. The truth become a lie for you, and lie become a truth for you, and you simply could not argue with American people. They absolutely indoctrinated with the lies, and they believe those lies. Those lies became not only truths, but holy truths, the one and only truth, that you are simply stupid, I know it all better, don't try to change my mind, I will ban you, I will kill you, you're a fucking commie, or something along those lines. You can't make Americans think anymore. They have no critical thinking, they have no real understanding how the world works, and that's how this dream Orwell society works. You all live in 1984 since 1950s. What Orwell described was, of course, capitalistic society, and not in a way a communist society, because Orwell, as everybody else, was just a tool for Western propaganda in general. Even though he lived in United Kingdom, he was a part of this capitalistic system which USA in charge of since 1950s. You live in false society, in society of lies, in society of control, they watching you, they I don't know, listening to you, they control your thoughts, they control your dreams, they control your consumption, they control your wishes, they control your wants. That what is current United States, and US government simply the whole representation of this. United States government is your big brother, and big brother not only watching you, but it create the shape of your thinking, the way of your life. They create absolutely everything and brainwashing you. I know this will sound ridiculous for American people, but suddenly I realized, after trying to explain 15 people, that they have absolutely no understanding whatsoever what is going on in the world, what things happened, and it can go on to anybody who live in Western world right now, even for the people who live in countries like Russia, Ukraine. Looks like it's not even the same with Russia, right? It's a different countries, but this Western propaganda is huge. It's working on anybody who it touches. Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Baltic countries. This propaganda works. Even somewhere in African countries, you can see the people who know absolutely 100% everything, and you cannot simply make them believe in something different. You are brainwashed generations, not one generation, but many generations who was brainwashed by your big brother. What I wanted to say by this video is just that I'm simply amazed how brainwashed you are, how indoctrinated you are, and that US government is your big brother, is your Nelson who running around kicking children and then like pointing the fingers. It's not me, it's them, haha. That's what American society do, literally, letter by letter. American government is a bully who pointing the fingers on anybody else, to make anybody else be blamed for the crimes it does. Welcome to your own 1984.